Well, it's become a very predictable game called carrot and stick, sometimes called stick and carrot. Someone says something sensible about transgenderism or the definition of marriage that doesn't quite line up with the Church of NPR, and right on cue, the same loud Alinskyite mob springs into action to shame, attack, segregate, isolate, and Mao the heretic into renouncing his heresy. And if the heretic is a celebrity who hasn't sipped all of the Kool-Aid, the attack comes in the form of threatening the loss of a show or some gig, if not the whole career. That's the stick. What's the carrot? It's the absolution granted by the overlords after you confess your sins. Here's a couple of examples from the last few years in no particular order. And the first one is kind of hard because I admire this guy. Actor Gary Sinise, who's a Catholic convert for whom I have a lot of respect for his support of wounded warriors and military families. At the last minute, he canceled a large-scale talk at the Catholic group conference put on by Legatus in 2015. Why? Because also speaking that day was Paul Darrow, former male model who left the gay life and became an influencer for chastity. Paul Darrow is one of the most gentle, humble people you'll want to meet. But the PC Thought Police alerted Mr. Sinese's managers, and he backed out, citing, quote, the controversy surrounding some of the participants and their views on personal matters, unquote, like chastity. The same thing happened with comedian Bob Newhart, Molson Coors chair Pete Coors, and Fox anchor Brett Baer. All four backed out of a contracted speaking gig last minute due to leftist mob pressure. Do you remember the former CEO of Mozilla Firefox, Brendan Eich? He invented JavaScript. Well, he was found to have sinned mortally in the form of donating $1,000 to support marriage in California. How about former Atlanta Fire Chief Kevin Cochran? He was given the Golden Boot Award for including the biblical view of homosexuality in a book that he wrote on his own time for Christian men at his church. Professor Robert Oscar Lopez of formerly, a lot of formalies here, of Cal State Northridge, he was shamed when he veered off the Orthodoxy reservation by not warmly remembering being raised by two mommies. A lot of formers in this list, right? Well, in the Catholic Church, unfortunately, we saw a few incidences like this involving priests and bishops who started off Pride Month giving gentle, sensible warnings that Catholics might not want to participate in Pride events, and they were screamed at until supine. And this week we have low information, probably sweethearted Mario Lopez, famous for Saved by the Bell. Now this one's kind of sad in a way. The context is Charlize Theron, the actress, a few months ago was interviewed, and she was asked about her son that she's decided to let wear a dress. She says, it's not for me to decide. So she's raising her little boy trans. Mario Lopez was interviewed last month about this by Candace Owens on her podcast, who asked him about this new PC Tinseltown trend. Here is his answer. Look, I'm never one to tell anyone how to parent their kids, obviously. And I think if you come from a place of love, you can't go wrong. But at the same time, my God, if you're 3 years old and you're saying you're feeling like a certain way, or you think you're a boy or a girl or whatever the case may be, he went on, I just think it's dangerous as a parent to make this determination then. Well, okay, you're going to be a boy or a girl or whatever. It's sort of alarming, and my gosh, I just think about the repercussions later on, unquote. Later he said, when you're a kid, I don't know anything about sexuality yet. You're just a kid. Adding, kids should be kids, but you got to be the adult in the situation, unquote. Now, all of this made sense until a few cultural moments ago. Not now. LGBTQ bully groups such as GLAAD and PFLAG were salivating to go after Mario Lopez with gusto, and they did. An ACLU staff attorney wrote for NBC that these ideas were not just stupid, but dangerous, suggesting that Mario Lopez would be responsible for a trans suicide. Now, LGBTQ bully groups like GLAAD and PFLAG were just salivating to go after Mario Lopez with gusto, and they did. The ACLU staff attorney wrote to NBC, these ideas are not just stupid, but dangerous, suggesting that Lopez would be responsible for trans suicides if they heard this. Right on cue. I'm sure you can predict how the carrot was obtained and the stick avoided. Mr. Lopez told CNN, quote, the comments I made were ignorant and insensitive, and I now have a deeper understanding of how hurtful they were. I have and always will be an ardent supporter of the LGBTQ community, and I'm going to use this opportunity to better educate myself. Moving forward, I will be more informed and thoughtful, unquote. You see, confessing your sins in this upside-down anti-sacrament of confession is not enough. No. You have to do penance in the form of loving and promoting the whole agenda. That's how it works. Then and only then does absolution come in the form of you not being given the Golden Boot Award by your overseers. The bad news is, now the mob has its eye on you. This ain't absolution. It's a Faustian deal. And you lose anyway. Subscribe to this channel. New videos on Catholic faith and culture and entertainment all the time. See the links below for more goodies. In the meantime, I am Patrick Coffin. Be a saint. What else is there?